Мгм. Вы мне скажете только, когда начать.
Мгм.
Можно начинать?
Да, можно начинать. Трансляция
Okay,
идет.
dear friends, welcome to the next webinar of the series Understanding Russia, webinars for students from African countries who are learning Russian language. At webinars, we talk about life in Russia. My name is Guskova Ekaterina, and I'm working in St. Petersburg State University. And now I'm in St. Petersburg, so greetings from St. Petersburg. Today, at our webinar that is called Everyday Life of Russia, of Russian people, I'm sorry. We will try to tell you a little about how our normal life goes, what we do in our free time, how we live, where we live, what we eat, and what we love. This is a very big topic, but we try to choose the most important things, the things that you need as a foreigner to know. And of course, the things that you will see and maybe you'll be surprised by once you come to Russia. Or what you can see maybe in the movies. So let's start from where do we live? So the place where people live, it's a house, apartment. Of course, apartments are different in many countries. We have already said that usually people in Russia, who lives in the cities, they live in apartments, in the apartment buildings. The typical apartment in the city is has 1, 2, 3 rooms. You can see it on the screen. Students often rent some one-room apartments. Studio apartments also becoming popular right now these days, so you can also find this one. In studio apartments, one room is united with the kitchen. So living room is united with the kitchen, and maybe plus you have some extra room. We think that is not very maybe convenient, or maybe the studio is not so big, but the budget is very good. So how apartments look like? Well, there is a wallpaper with a pattern on the walls. You can see it on the screen. Simple light walls are also very popular these days. There are often a lot of bookcases in Russia in the rooms, and this is really great thing I can say about Russia, that you can find a lot of bookshelves in Russian apartments. So because Russian people love to read and they actually collect some old books. So this is really great. And also there are a lot of curtains in the window and also chandelier. You can see it on the screen too. We need to say that the daylight during winter is short, so that's why we need a lot of extra light. What else? We have a lot of extra lamps in the apartment. There is also a carpet on the wall. It used to be a long Russian tradition to have a carpet on the wall. But recently, not so many young people choose to put carpet on the wall. So this is kind of Soviet Union grandparents' tradition. Why did we used to hang the carpet on the wall? Because it makes the floor, it makes warm. And also we put carpet on the floor, also because of this reason, it makes warm. We also love to have a lot of plants. You can see it on the screen too. Once we talk about the most important place in the Russian apartment, it's of course kitchen. Right now I'm also on the kitchen, by the way. We cook in the kitchen. We have breakfast here, lunch and dinner. We can also receive, take guests in the kitchen if it's not a holiday, because if it's a holiday, if it's something like a holiday dinner, we prefer to have the table in the living room. But if it's just like guests, not in the holiday, we are okay to have dinner in the kitchen. The photo that you can see on the screen shows the very ordinary kitchen in Russian apartment. It's very convenient to cook here and eat here. You can sit at the table and talk for a long time. Let's talk about pets. In Russia, people love animals. Even in the city, in apartment, we have pets. Some animals live. We have already said that people often have cats and dogs, but it's not the only pets that we can have. We also can have hamster. I used to have hamster when I was a pupil at school. And we can also have guinea pigs and fish. They are also very popular. People carefully take care of the animals. Then the apartment, we need also to clean the apartment if we have pets in order not to have a smell. Dogs and some cats are regularly washed. So we not only take care, not only give the food to pets, but also wash them. Dogs are walking on the street. That's why once they're at home, we need to wash their paws, their legs, like paws. And in a special store, you can buy various things for animals like clothes, bags, shampoo, toys, and a lot of things more. Well, usually we run the household ourselves. We clean the apartments. We can do little repair, but sometimes we need some extra help. We need the help of some professions, and we use some services for every day. There are lots of different kind of services you can find in Russia. Here you can repair shoes, you can repair clothes, you can fix or repair your computer. Also, you can have dry cleaning and laundry, and of course, your equipment repair. Laundries are not so popular here, we need to say, because like every apartment has a washing machine. That's why it's very rare when we ask for the laundry, but still you can do it. Well, for some things you need a special dry cleaning, and like then we use laundry, and we use actually dry cleaning, himchiska, we call in Russia. It can be a jacket, a coat, a blanket, or other things. A very important service for people is a hairdresser, because we all want to look very good. Well, for a foreigner, it's always a big problem to go to a hairdresser. First, if you don't know the language well, it's hard to explain how a hairdresser should cut your hair. Secondly, people in different countries have different hair like quality or hair types, we can say. The shape of the face also differs. Even in the neighboring countries in Europe, there are different types of hairdressers. And of course, everyone has different preferences. The only advice is to ask people from your country which hairdresser they liked and where this hairdresser works. In general, they are very good, barber shops also, and beauty salons are in big cities and even in small cities too. There are beauty salons for men and women. There are also salons only for men and only for women. Hairdressers cut and dye your hair, so they change the color of your hair. In the salon, you can also do some manicures and pedicures and many other cosmetic procedures. Women in Russia are very, how can I say, crazy about manicures, coloring their hair, and doing makeup. Once I was living abroad for 4 years, I noticed that the beauty industry in Russia is highly developed, because Russian women really take care about themselves so good. We regularly go to beauty salon, we regularly do manicure and pedicure. So in Russia, it's really popular. Let's talk about the schedule. So how our time is organized. A week, usually divided into working days and weekend. There are 2 days off in Russia, official ones, Saturday and Sundays, but of course it doesn't mean that you're not working during the weekend. So for example, I'm working during Saturday, I'm giving classes, but in general, these are the weekend days. School children and students sometimes can study at Saturday too. Shops and services are open all week, 7 days a week. So this is really comfortable. You don't need to, even banks, for example, banks are opened also on the weekend. So you don't need to, like, I don't like to rush there after your working day. Once we talk about the working day, in Russia usually starts at 9 a.m. and it ends about 6 in the evening. People usually have lunch at 12 or at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Statistics show that the majority of Russians get up before 7 o'clock in the morning. This is about, you can see, 68%. And 18% of Russians gets up at 8 or 9. So what about going to bed? 59% of Russians go to bed before 11, and 30% of Russians go to bed after midnight. So this is important to know if you are planning an event or if you need to call someone, why we talk about these hours. So if you work or study in Russia, or if you have colleagues in Russia, you need to know when you can call or write messages. This is information I really, for example, sometimes want my students to know, because sometimes it's not very okay for me if someone sends me the message after my working day. So what you need to know when you can call. If you have an urgent question about work, you can call and write from 9 in the morning to 7 in the evening. This is working time. People are ready to discuss work issues. If your question is not very urgent, it's better to call or write from 12. After 7 p.m., well, we need to say that this is a time for personal communication with friends and acquaintances. So after 10 p.m., it's already late, or it's already late to call or to send messages. I usually not prefer to answer to my students after 7 p.m. We already have talked about transport in the cities. Well, for time planning, it's important to know that in a big city, people often drive from home to work for about 1 hour. So 1 hour it takes you to get from your home to work. You need to remember about traffic jams. Public transport is becoming more popular because it's runs very frequently now, and it's very convenient. For example, trolley buses and buses have Wi-Fi, like free internet. Even the metro has the free internet. In Moscow and St. Petersburg, you can now have to pay for parking. This is another reason for the popularity of public transport. But at the same time, I need to say that also more and more people use car sharing. You can see it on the screen. This is the black and kind of orange color, like cars. Some of my friends who know how to drive, but they don't have any car, they usually use car sharing. So they have a lot of applications. You can find a lot of companies that are dealing right now, and this is very easy just to pay and to take a car to go to drive somewhere. Let's talk about food. Food is a very important part of our schedule. Well, there is no strict schedule for meal in Russia, but we have breakfast in the morning, lunch in the afternoon, and of course dinner in the evening. There are dishes that we only eat for breakfast. It's, for example, porridge. Or just for lunch, we eat soup. So it's not okay to eat soup for breakfast, and it's not okay to eat, I don't know, porridge for dinner. Our breakfast is usually porridge, cottage cheese. I don't know, maybe you heard about this. It is called tvorog. Tvorog is a very special product in Russia. I never saw it in other countries. We can translate it like cottage cheese, but I'm not sure that you can find it everywhere. In Russia, you can find it in any shop, and this is very popular to have breakfast with. For lunch in Russia, we eat soup, salad, meat, of course, or chicken, or fish with potatoes, vegetables, and sometimes pasta. Dinner, it's like lunch, but without any soup. What is porridge? Porridge is a cereal. It's boiled with water or milk. We eat it a lot of for breakfast with butter or jam. Buckwheat is porridge, but we eat it at any time. Buckwheat, you can see it on the screen. We call it гречка or гречневая каша. It's a very popular in Russia. Well, how do we prepare typical Russian soup? So we use a lot of vegetables, meat, and of course, like water. But it's not a lot of water in the Russian soup. It's like you can have more vegetables and more meat. Almost every soup has carrot, onion, garlic, potatoes, and some herbs, for example, dill. So what our meal usually look like? On photo, you can see like usual combinations of dishes. Chicken with rice, fish with potatoes, cutlets with pasta. There is usually bread on the table. It's impossible to imagine Russian table without any bread. You can see black bread right now on the screen. Like what are cutlets? Cutlets. This is meat with onions and flour. And they usually fried on a frying pan. In Russia, many people don't eat spicy dishes. If you like a lot of pepper, you can add it, but in general, Russian cuisine is not a spicy one. As for our drinks, everyday people in Russia drink a lot of tea. We also love coffee, but we need to say that tea is more popular. Tea is always offered at a party or at work. We drink tea in the morning, afternoon, and in the evening. In winter, summer, autumn, and spring, so all year. We think that tea is very healthy. With the tea, we eat sweets, cookies, and pies. In Russia, people can drink tea for a long time and talk. And this is very interesting that, for example, once I was abroad, in some countries, it's not okay. It's just okay to drink tea without anything. In Russia, it's impossible. If you drink tea, you usually have something to eat, some sweets, actually, like chocolate or cakes. This is very important. What Russian people usually do for a weekend? Statistics show that they are doing household chores, for example, cleaning. They also do their hobbies, relax, and some work. The ideal weekend for Russian people is to walk, go to the country, watch movies and TV series, sleep, go to the forest for mushrooms. Even in cold weather, people walk and drive outside the city. So what hobbies do Russian people do in Russia? The survey results show that people like to cook, travel, and read books. Less popular are sports and dancing, indoor plants, TV series, shopping in stores, pets, and computer games. So let's talk about few Russian hobbies. So first of all, it's traveling. Traveling is a very popular hobby in Russia. Recently, Russians have begun to travel more in Russia. In summer, people like to relax on the beaches by the sea. Popular places for this are Sochi and Crimea, Black Sea, Kaliningrad, it's a Baltic Sea. Mountain walkers go to the Caucasus, Crimea and Sochi, beautiful nature forests, traveling by water. There's like, you can find Lake Baikal, Ladoga, and other lakes of Karelia. These are the popular cities that you can travel. Of course, it's St. Petersburg, Moscow, Kazan, Kaliningrad. And they are all ancient Russian cities, and you can find a lot of interesting places to visit there. These cities are famous for its history, architecture, and nature. So this is a map with popular places in Russia for tourism. For example, let me show you. I will try just a second. to show you because it's in Russian. So Sochi is here next to the Black Sea, also Crimea. Here is St. Petersburg, Karelia, Kazan, Kaliningrad, the only city that is like almost in Europe, a little bit away from Russia. So this is a very popular places to visit. As for the sport, we need to say that Russian people love sport and love like sports activities. What kind of sports do Russian people do? The most popular, of course, is football. After football, swimming. Then there is volleyball, athletics, basketball, cross-country skiing, and fitness. They are also popular in Russia. So what kinds of sports do people like to watch in Russia? Of course, it's football. So football comes first, then it's biathlon. Biathlon, you can see it. I will show you right now. It's the picture here. It's when you do the ski and then you need to like shout from the special gun. Then on the third place, it's ice hockey, figure skating, and like also just simply skiing. They're also very popular. These statistics show that Russians love winter sports, so we prefer winter sports. People watch sports broadcasts at home or in the bar. A lot of people in their free time ride a bike, do some ski, snowboard, just running, or yoga. There are many forests in Russia. The forest is a place where you can walk, pick up mushrooms and berries. It's free. This is good. And it's legal. People in Russia usually know which mushrooms can be eaten. In general, we say that you can eat all the mushrooms, but some of them only like once. We're picking berries. The photo shows berries what are found only in the north or in the northwest of Russia, for example, near St. Petersburg. In Russia, many people like to fish. This is usually done by men. It's not a women activity. Fishing is free, but there are rules and laws for fishermen. Dancing is one more very popular activity in Russia. There are dance schools in towns and cities. Children and adults can study here. It's Latin American dancers, it's tango, it's salsa, breakdance. All of this is very popular. And in summer, dance lovers gather on the streets of the city. And in the photo, you can see people dancing in the center of St. Petersburg. Young people love breakdancing. It can also be seen on the street of the city. Music. Probably people like all over the world loves music. In Russia, we love pop music, usually rock, jazz, and some classic music. Rock is very popular in Russia. There are many popular bands and talented musicians here. Russian rock has its own traditions and legends. You can listen to jazz in big cities of Russia. These are usually small jazz clubs. Many people in Russia know and love classic music. Here, classics are studied at school and children are told about it. Classical music concerts are available. Famous artists perform in different cities in Russia. In Russia, people like to read books. I already told you that in every Russian apartment, you can find a lot of bookshelves, right? So this is really national hobby, I can say. Russians often have a lot of books and they read a lot. People are buying them now when we read a lot, but actually we right now read a lot of in the internet. And we also use some electronic books right now. For example, I prefer to buy electronic versions of the book and to read it on my special device. What are the genres, what are the types of books we like to read? This is fiction. This is detective stories, adventures, historical novels. Popular science literature is also very, very important. We need to say that we like to read novels by Russian and foreign authors, the classical one. books can be bought in stores, in special stores, or they can be ordered online. If you order books online, sometimes it can be cheaper than to buy in the store. We often discuss the books with each other, with our friends. Even we have some discussion reading clubs, so also very enjoyable. Once we talk about, we call it cultural rest. Cultural rest is about going to the cinema, to the theater, some museums, exhibitions. Adults, young children, young people, and old, everyone can find something interesting for themselves. Children are always brought to museums and theaters. So this is not only for adults, but it's kind of part of education of every child. Because, for example, when I was a small girl, I was always taken to the theater. By the way, there are special children's theater for the children. Another very popular activity right now is quests and quizzes. We can call it mind games. These are games for intellectuals. Quest, you get a task, for example, to open the door and leave the room. To do this, you must find answers to the questions. Quiz, it's also an intellective game. People gather together in a cafe, or actually not in the cafe, in the restaurant or in the pub, and they answer various difficult questions about culture, science, technology, and so on. Usually these are the questions about like universal background, I can say. The winner receive a prize, and Russian people kind of, this is for us a kind of intellectual challenge all the time. We love to have this challenge and to use our mind to solve the problem. And the last thing we need to say that what we love to do, it's bowling, of course, and karaoke. They are available almost in all cities. Well, for bowling in Russia, it has some special feature. We have very few professional athletes in the sport. Bowling is an opportunity for us to spend time with friends. It's not a very kind of professional sport. Karaoke is also not our tradition, but we really love singing songs together. We enjoy singing songs. And so right now we think that karaoke and bowling are very fashionable and unusual. So we do this a lot. And the last thing is on the right, it's a stand-up shows. I need to say that nowadays stand-up shows becoming more and more popular. And you can see me on the photo. For example, I'm going to open mics to give my set about my life. Lots of not professional comedians go for open mics, and it doesn't need to be your profession, but you can just, I don't know, after working day, you go to the pub and you just perform with a small talk, funny talk. And sometimes I tell jokes about my teaching career, about my work with the foreigners, or maybe about my private life. So I need to say that more and more people are participating in this one, and a lot of people going to watch comedians. And also it's interesting that I noticed that a lot of women do right now stand up in Russia. So this about all that we wanted to tell you today. Thank you for your attention. We talked about the ordinary life of Russians, and our next topic would be cultural life in Russia. Thank you for your attention again, and let's check the questions if you had this one. I'm closing my presentation now. So let me check if you had some questions. Okay, the first question is about how common is being vegetarian and how easy it is to be vegetarian in Russia. Very easy and very common. These days, I need to say that more and more people are aware about this issue about being vegetarian and about the animals. And so, I think about 2 or 3 my very close friends are vegetarians, and you can find a lot of vegetarian food. It's easy to find, it's easy to cook. So as far as I know, it's not very difficult to be vegetarian here. Yes, Charles, the question about what are some popular jazz musicians. Well, we don't have any special musicians like very popular. I can't say that this is my favorite jazz musician. You just go to the pub and there are just general jazz music. It's not the part of our culture. It's just now kind of a very good sound, like music background. We just go to listen to jazz. We don't know any like some particular musicians. Yes, can I mention some Slavic traditional dance? It's a Galinka dance or it's just music? No, of course it's oh my God, let me remember. I used to go to the folk dancing school. Of course, we were dancing Kalinka. It's about the music and about dance, but there are a lot of I need to say like a lot of like traditional movements. And Russian dance is about slow and fast, slow and fast. So choreography is about changing between the fast and slow movements. Okay, how popular is junk food in Russia? Since the Western fast food brands are left Russia, it's the okay, the question about junk food. Well, we love junk food, but I don't think it's like comparing to what I saw abroad. I need to say that we don't eat too much junk food. We do eat junk food, but less than I saw abroad in other countries. And we have a lot of brands for fast food. We have a great fast food for pancakes with a different like meat, jams, like fish. We can say that this is kind of Russian fast food pancakes with different addings. Yes, yes, and also we have right now in new fast food вкусная точка instead of McDonald's. Yes, вкусная точка. Okay. What else? Any other questions?
Excuse me.
Charles, I
Our-
don't remember about your question last time.
my question last time, yes,
Okay,
you
just
forgot.
yeah, as a teacher, I can't say that I forgot. I just decided that it would be better to talk about next time. So in once I was studying for a teacher, like I was told that you never confess that you forgot something. You just like, okay, it would be better to discuss this next time. So Charles, I just fixed in my notebook about this question, okay? Promise next time for sure.
Okay, and another question I wanted to ask is it appears to me that Russians go to bed early and wake up early. Majority of Russians, according to the statistics.
Yeah.
Can
According
you
to
can you
statistics,
conclude?
well,
Can you then conclude? Can you
yeah.
conclude that majority of Russians are conservatives, or are they liberal in their persuasions?
Well, Charles, I was actually, to be honest, I was surprised by the statistics because I'm going to bed very late, and most of my friends, I can see it by, seeing them online in the chats, and I was really surprised. Maybe I need to say maybe in big cities it's okay to go bed late. In small cities where you have some tradition work, government work, it's okay to go earlier. So I can't say that we're very conservative. Even, for example, I'm going to bed late, but I still can see that a lot of things are working on the opposite side of my street. I can see the lights everywhere.
So they're generally liberal, you saying, or is a mix up 50-50, or like I know big cities like Moscow. Moscow is, for example, could be a liberal bastion. and smaller cities where people are farming, they could be conservative. But I
Yes,
wanted to
yes,
know
something
generally,
like this.
would you say Russians are conservatives or are they liberals on a general picture?
Oh, difficult question. I would say 50-50. I would say 50-50. And even we have a Russian famous song. It is like kind of pop DJ music. And this song is called Moscow Never Sleeps. You can check it in the internet.
Yeah, I know. Moscow is likely to be a
Never,
liberal,
never sleep,
less.
believe me, never sleep. And St. Petersburg also never sleep. I get really on the opposite side of my street, like every time lights, every time, like during all day. Yes, I saw, Alexandra, thank you for reminding me. Yes, Igor Butman, one of the famous Russian musician, and he plays jazz a lot, Igor Butman. But I guess this is the only one musician that we know. I mean, like just especially jazz. We don't have a jazz, it's just just very popular musicians. There are so many.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you so much then for your attention. I'll see you next time and have a nice evening. Goodbye. До свидания. Хорошего вечера.
И до свидания. See you next week.
Пока-пока.
Всего доброго. До свидания.